What do it do, YouTube? It is your boys. Let me make sure this is turned off. There we go. Come back to that in a minute. It is your boys, CJ and Tro, and we back with another retro review. See what I did there?
Oh, yes. Very clever.
Very clever. Facts. Uh, so, ladies and gentlemen, last week when we did our retro reviews, we reviewed, I believe, Elimination Chamber 2013. And
Yes.
we talked a lot about The Rock being at that press conference and what happened and all that good stuff. And that's it on SmackDown. The Rock has officially joined the bloodline. So if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. But there you go. Rock is now officially a part of the bloodline. He does this number when he puts his one up, though. What is this the shape of?
An
L.
L? Yeah.
For Roman.
Well, did you notice something when he was saying that
He will do everything he can to
to
make
make
sure
sure
you lose.
you lose. He was pointing at Roman.
Right. Right. And yeah, I got that. Um,
That'll be fun.
Facts. Anywho, so since we covered The Rock last week, and let's do it again this week with WrestleMania 18. Excuse me. With WrestleMania 18. Now, before we talk about WrestleMania 18, before we get to the match card, we got to talk a little bit about the build up to this WrestleMania, because a lot of stuff happened between WrestleMania 17 and WrestleMania 18. I'm sorry for all the deep breaths, folks. I don't know what's going on with that, but there we go. So let's run it back all the way to the night after Survivor Series 2001. I almost said 2001, but since from 2001. So for those of you who don't remember, have been living under a rock, or just plain not all there, whatever, not judging, WWF defeated the Alliance to put them out of business forever. And if you get to Sandlot, if you've ever seen the Sandlot, you get my reference to forever.
Ver.
Yeah, facts. So then the next night on Raw, Stone Cold turned babyface, I believe, right? Undertaker turned heel. Kurt
He
Angle.
turned heel. He turned heel. I think the 2 weeks later,
Oh, okay.
because he made Jr. kiss
Kiss.
Vince's ass.
You think you better than me, JR?
You think you're not gonna kick his ass? I'll kiss his ass.
Right. So we have a babyface Stone Cold back. We have a heel Undertaker, and Ric Flair is also now partners with Vince McMahon. So he is part owner of the World Wrestling Federation, the WWF.
The consortium is me.
Yeah,
Woo!
we're partners. Yeah. And so that happened, and we go to the Rumble in January, or we go to January of 02, where Triple H made his triumphant return, right?
Yes.
And also in January, they had the Royal Rumble match, the 30-man Royal Rumble, and Triple H ends up winning the whole kit and caboodle, wins the whole thing. So he gets to main event WrestleMania with the man who defeated The Rock earlier on in the night, Chris Jericho, and they meet up at WrestleMania 18 for the Undisputed Championship, the WWF Undisputed Championship. For all intents and purposes, we're going to say the WWF when we talk about this pay-per-view, because it was still known as the WWF. So just
this is the last ever though WrestleMania under the WWF banner.
Yeah. World Wrestling Federation dies in April, and World Wrestling Entertainment is born.
Get the F out.
Facts. And of course, we will talk about what happens after WrestleMania 18, because there's a lot that happens. But also in, I want to say, was it February? Did the new World order of professional wrestling makes their debut in the WWF. And they debut at No Way Out, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Yes, they debut at No Way Out, and I loved the backstage segments that they had with some of the superstars when they were embracing Triple H, they hugged Triple H, they made fun of The Rock, they made fun of Stone Cold, and it was very entertaining stuff. What'd you think?
I mean, I love it, and I love this was like the start of Unhinged Vince McMahon, where he's
Yes.
like, Ric Flair is part of my company. I gotta inject the poison.
Mhm.
The
Oh, yeah.
NW. Oh,
Right.
I'm bringing Hulk Hogan back, bitches.
And Diesel and Razor, no, and they're not fake this time. No.
Imagine they just put they brought back all the fake ones. It's fake Hogan. It's fake
Well,
NWO.
they couldn't have brought back the fake Diesel because the fake Diesel was now Kane. So,
They just they have him. They have Glenn Jacobs work both gimmicks at the same time. He's fake Diesel during one match, and the next is Kane.
so anywho, uh, uh, so we had those guys debut, but also in January at the Rumble, I forgot to mention, I believe it was Ric Flair defeating Mr. McMahon in that street fight. Um, am I correct on that? Hello? Folks, I apologize. He froze up on us. Give him a second. Apologize for this, folks. Tro, sometimes he likes to freeze up on us. I don't
There
know
we
what
go.
it is. There we go. I was asking, Ri did Ric Flair defeat, Vince McMahon at the Royal Rumble in '02 in that street fight? Do you remember?
I'm sorry, I lost you there for a while. Everything like just came very like staticky for a moment.
Can you hear me now? Am I good now?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Did Ric Flair defeat Vince McMahon at the Royal Rumble?
yes.
Okay, I thought so. So I got that fact right.
It
Great.
was a good match.
It was a street fight, you know, it was as good a match as you can expect from 2 old dudes. If you're expecting it to be like Benoit versus Angle, sorry, folks, you're not gonna get that with McMahon and Ric Flair. But and that's not a knock on Ric Flair at all as a wrestler, but or McMahon
No,
really. Um, but yeah, uh, so that happened also, and then, I guess now let's just talk about WrestleMania 18 now that we kinda discussed everything. Um So we now go to WrestleMania 18, which takes place at, uh, at the Sky Dome in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. 68,237 people were in attendance, with a buy rate of 860,000 people in North America. And, let's take a look at the matches here. Uh, on Heat, Rikishi, Scotty 2 Hotty, and Albert defeated Mr. Perfect, Lance Storm, and Test. Uh, WrestleMania 18 opens with Rob Van Dam defeating William Regal to become the Intercontinental Champion. What do you think of this match?
very good. It's a very good opener.
Yeah.
Great to see Rob. You know, Rob Van Dam getting his first IC title, first of a couple. Um, Always nice to see evil William Regal just trying everything in the book to
Mhm.
get that heat.
Yeah, this was a great match, a great meshing of styles here. It was like a high flyer meets kinda like a brawler technician type guy, and, you know, those kinds of matches, they always hit. For me, I like those kinds of matches. Next match, Diamond Dallas Page retains the European Championship by defeating Christian. Um, I think this match could have been put on heat as well. Do you agree? This match didn't need a WrestleMania placement.
I think they only did it just to give Christian a WrestleMania match in front of his hometown.
Okay, I could see that. I could see that, but never mind. I was going to say they could have done it on Heat because that was also in Canada, but maybe I'm wrong. I get what
I
you're
mean, you
saying.
could.
It was
It's
WrestleMania pay.
yeah, it's nice to see DDP too have a WrestleMania match, and it's so cool that the fans are so forgiving after he was a stalker during his run last year.
Bang! Sorry, I had to do that.
Diamond
May
upside down is a pussy.
I'm sorry?
I said Diamond upside down is a pussy. If you get that reference, then you like bad movies.
What is wrong with you, Tro? I am proud to
No,
say I do not get that reference, but wow, Tro, wow.
it is a reference.
Folks, send your hate to Tro on Twitter. Don't send it to me. I don't know what his Twitter is, but find him and send your hate to him, not to me. Yeah. Next match, Maven versus Goldust for the Hardcore Championship. No contest because Spike Dudley pinned Maven, and also in this night, let's talk about this. The Hardcore Championship changed hands multiple times at WrestleMania 18. So Spike Dudley pins. Hang on, I want to make sure. I want to make sure that I get this right. Okay. Okay. So so this I do know that Maven and Maven leaves WrestleMania 18 with the Hardcore Championship.
Yeah.
Spike Dudley pins Maven. Molly Holly gets a shot at the gets a run with the Hardcore title. Christian gets a run with the Hardcore title. Hurricane, I believe, gets one. Gets
So if I
crazy
remember, if I
throughout.
remember what the sequence was, it was Spike gets the title, then they go backstage at some point. Hurricane comes flying, swinging on a rope out of nowhere. It's it's Spike gets the title.
Yep.
Then Hurricane finds Molly Holly, who at this point was his psychic, Super Molly.
Yep.
She hits him in the back of the head with a frying pan,
That was funny.
pins him,
And
and then as Molly's running into the back,
Christian slams the door
Christian
in Molly's
slams
face,
the door.
which
And,
I mean, equal rights, equal fights, right?
and then as Christian is getting ready to leave, he puts his bags in the taxi. Maven comes out of nowhere and pins him. So I
He
guess
gets in the
Maven
taxi
now
and drives off.
gets in the taxi, takes Christian's bags and the hardcore title.
Yep. It was a great little run of things here. I loved it.
Shout out to Maven,
Yeah.
good YouTube channel.
Wait, yeah, go follow Maven. He's a great YouTube channel. Please go subscribe. Hey, by the way, since we're talking about all that stuff, let's do it right here. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. I promise Joe doesn't make comments like the diamond down below, diamond upside down is a who.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah, I promise he won't make those kinds of comments every week. Um, he's cracking himself up here, folks.
It's such just it's one of my most random references I've said on this channel.
Where does that come from?
It's from Ready to Rumble.
Oh God! Oh God! Okay, okay.
It's like towards the end, one of the actors, I think it might have been David Arquette. He goes up to Diamond Dallas Page, who is the villain of the film. He's like, Diamond upside down is a puss.
Yeah. I got it. So yeah, the hardcore title segments on this show were very entertaining. Would you agree?
Yes.
Next match on the show, Kurt Angle defeats Kane. great match here. Uh, both are great work. What do you think of this match?
It's kind of a random match, but a good match for Kurt. Um, his hairline is receding badly,
Mhm.
and he wouldn't have that hair for much longer either.
Thank God. Thank God.
But to be fair, Kane wouldn't have that mask for much longer either. He'd be unmasked the following year.
Yep, that is true also. Um, yeah, he does lose his mask the following year, doesn't he? Then we get um, The Undertaker defeating Ric Flair. I love the story in this match. I love the story of Rick not wanting to wrestle at first, and so Taker beats up his best friend, beats up his son. I mean, and beats them both to like bloody pulps, literally. I
Yeah,
mean, Undertaker. This version of the Undertaker was absolutely ruthless and vicious, and I loved it. Um, and this match was brutal and just it was a great match. Go out of your way to watch this one, folks, because this one is it. Um, would you agree that this match was great?
yes, and it's also the first time that they fully acknowledge that the Undertaker is undefeated and has a streak at WrestleMania. Because following the match,
Yeah, he does
Taker looks
the.
at his hands and he's like, "Huh, I'm 10-0."
Was he 10-0 here or was he 8-0?
He was 10-0 because the following year, since he beat two people, they said, "Oh well, it counts for twice." Like,
Okay.
okay, if whatever you
Uh,
want to do.
Next match, Edge defeating Booker T. All of this started over a
Shampoo.
commercial, a Japanese shampoo commercial, which
That's where that legendary sign comes from.
yeah, I mean,
These guys are fighting over shampoo.
yeah. Well, feuds have started over stuff that's stupider, I guess. So, um, yeah, this was a great match. Good match, actually. I shouldn't say great match, but it was a good match. Solid little let me down from the Undertaker Ric Flair match. It was a little whatever. Um, and then we go to Stone Cold defeating Scott Hall with Kevin Nash, who was a one-on-one. Should this have been a handicap match?
Now, seeing how Kevin Nash tore his quad walking inside a ring a few months later, probably not. Kevin Nash was Kevin Nash wasn't in great shape
Yeah, I think it was.
physically.
When you put it like that, I guess it was best to keep this one-on-one. And Scott Hall, shout out to Scott Hall. When he took that stunner from Stone Cold, boy, he went up in the air. I mean, he had his jumping boots on. He had like the springs in the boots and everything.
You know who didn't like this match?
Oh,
Stone Cold.
well, yeah. I mean, look, do you want to get into the
Yeah,
Stone Cold stuff here, or should we wait till after the show? Because that stuff kind of.
yeah. After the show,
Yeah, okay, we'll talk about that here. Um, So that happened. Billy and Chuck defeat the APA, the Dudleys, and the Hardys to win to retain their tag team championships. I think this was just a way to get all the tag teams on the show. Quite frankly, this did not live up to previous tag matches of WrestleMania's past.
yeah, they realized that they didn't have a big tag match this year for WrestleMania, and they're like,
Just threw them
"Huh,
all in there.
let's put the Dudleys and APA and the Hardys.
Yeah.
That'll work."
Um, talk about main event of the night, match of the night, and whatever storyline of the night. Rock defeats Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Boy, oh boy. Um, well, whoops, don't do that. Uh, ah, trying to go full screen. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, no, this match. Look, in ring wise, like ring work wise, you're not gonna get that technical wrestling masterpiece. You are not going to get sleeper holds you are not going to get surfboards and lucha gunranas and 455 splashes and whatever, right? It's not going to be it's not going to be a high impact match, but it is going to be a storyline driven match, and that is what is important. Um, would you agree with that?
Yep.
And the story here is the fans love Hogan so much that when they start the match, The Rock is the babyface and Hulk Hogan is the heel. Hollywood Hogan is the heel. But the fans, they switch that around, and now you got The Rock as the bad guy and Hulk as the good guy, and The Rock still wins. And after the match, sign of respect, handshake, hug, whatever. This should have been the last match of the card. This should have been the last match on the show. Would you agree?
Yeah. This hindsight 2020. It probably should have been the last match.
It would have made the stare down thing to just feel much more impactful. And no disrespect to Triple H or Chris Jericho. We'll talk about that match in a second because that is the main event. But that wasn't what this pay-per-view, what this WrestleMania was based upon. It was based on, and now that I think about it, it does make sense to have Chris Jericho main event the show because where are they? In Canada. And also, by the way, I forgot to mention one match, but I'll get to that in a minute. Wait, did I forget to mention that?
No, we have one more match in between this.
Okay,
We have
good. I was like, wait, did I mention that? I forgot. Anyway, no, I did think that this match should have gone on last. And Joe, give your thoughts.
overall, Hogan and Rock, because they met again. The first time was obviously the best of the two matches, although the second match has its own merits. But between the stare down, the commentary was great, and The Rock realizing okay, I'm gonna have to start, turning heel, working heel during this match because the crowd's starting to really get into Hogan. And you had Rock hitting the people's elbow, the rock bottom, Hogan doing all the best of the Hogan spots.
Yep. Also, I want to say one thing before we continue on with this show, by the way. Tro, shout out to you, big homie, for keeping up with the shorts, YouTube shorts. Do you think you can do that with this episode?
I'll try, but I looked at, I uploaded.
Please do not cut your diamond upside down comment. Do not put that as a short.
Now hear me. Now hear me out. What if that becomes our most viewed short, though? Now, when I uploaded that Jey Uso Super Bowl thing, I didn't expect that to get as many views as it did.
How many?
I kept on checking.
How many views?
It's in the 500s now.
Really? You're lying. Hold on a second.
It's probably plateaued by now because it's not as popular. The Super Bowl is not really.
Okay, 517. Nice. Okay.
I was like, damn.
The Rock watches the Raw Down has 250. My vacation update has 7 views. So, okay. Our one video that we did has 5,804 views. The Jimmy Uso is the Marty Jannetty. So, anyway, continuing with WrestleMania 18 here. We're just about finished with the show. Jazz, who, by the way, I want to talk about this for a split second. Jazz is one of the most underrated women's wrestlers of all time. I said that. I stand by it. It's true. She made Trish Stratus look awesome as a babyface. Am I wrong, Tro?
No.
Okay. She and Victoria made and Molly those 3 heels with Trish Stratus, they all made Trish look like $1,000,000. They all helped her develop her skills and talent, and they all deserve credit in their own ways. And here, Jazz defeats Trish and Lita. To me, I believe Jazz is a better performer than Lita was. Now, Lita had the moonsault. Lita had the extreme style, and I'm not taking anything away from Lita, but I would much rather watch Jazz because she was just brutal. She was an ass kicker, man, and I like that. And Lita was more of a character, and she was a great character. Jazz wasn't a great character, but she was a great wrestler. Um, am I telling any lies so far?
No,
Okay. Um, what are your thoughts on Jazz and all that?
I think Jazz is great. She probably could have had a better run if she had come in maybe a little bit later.
Mhm,
Like she came in on the last the last day of the invasion at Survivor Series,
mhm.
so she
Last
did have
year.
that going for
Yeah.
her. See, the thing with this match is you still got young Trish
Yep.
and you
And
got
she's
young
in
Lita.
it.
Yep, this was before Lita. Like at this point, Lita was just Matt Hardy's girlfriend who could really do cool stuff,
Yeah,
but she didn't have her character yet.
right. Um, but this
This
match,
should have
like
this should have main evented. This should have. This was also just the cool down match
yeah,
for because
which is
they don't want could you imagine if they sent out Triple H and Chris
right?
Jericho after like a
Yeah, that wouldn't have been cool. But speaking of Triple H and Chris Jericho, that is the main event of this evening, and Triple H, the man who tore his quad a year before, comes back, wins the Rumble, main events WrestleMania with one of the best in the world at what he does, and defeats the man Chris Jericho to win the undisputed WWF Championship. Man, this was a really great match. Was it as good as The Rock and Hogan? No, but give this match the respect that it deserves because these guys really worked their asses off.
so the match was good. The finish was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, the main
Except
problem
for
though
the
is the main problem is the storyline was god awful. It was basically Triple H versus Stephanie with
yeah,
a supporting role by undisputed champion Chris Jericho.
yeah, yeah,
Guys, I'm here too. Remember when I called Stephanie all those bad things? Well, I was kidding. Ha 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 ha.
yeah. No, no, this was a really great match. This for for a WrestleMania main event, it was really great. It was awesome. Go out of your way to watch this. Go out of your way to watch Hollywood Hogan and The Rock, and go watch the hardcore title stuff because that stuff was also very entertaining. Um, so go watch those 3 things. Of course, after WrestleMania 18, uh, we see a new superstar debut the very next night on Raw. Uh, this man would become known as the Beast Incarnate, uh, and he would be managed by ECW owner Paul Heyman. I'm talking about Brock Lesnar, and we all know the career Brock would go on to have. He would win the King of the Ring. He would go to SummerSlam and not just beat The Rock, but destroy The Rock to become WWE champion. I believe the youngest WWE champion at that point. And then he would go on to feud with people like Undertaker, Big Show, Chris Benoit. Of course he feuded with Kurt Angle, had that legendary match. The following year, WrestleMania 19, which uh, Frank and I did a review on WrestleMania 19, so please go watch that. It's in the archives. Go watch that one. Um, so we knew the career that Brock had. Also, we see a couple of young rookies from OVW come up: Randy Orton, John Cena, and Batista, and they all come up, and they all come up post WWE draft, which takes place in March. The draft takes place in March. Um, Austin doesn't get drafted, so this is where we're going to talk about now. This is where we're going to talk about right here. Stone Cold leaving the WWE, walking out. I did this so we could clip this part because I wanted to make this a separate video. Does that make sense? Okay. Um, sorry, folks, my ring app went off or something. Um, let's talk about this. So, King of the Ring time, and they wanted to do Brock versus Stone Cold as a qualifier on an episode of Raw. Stone Cold wasn't having that, wasn't happy about it. And he's like, "Really? Is that what we're doing?" Yeah. And Austin says, "Well, when I said really that's what we're doing, what I meant was really that's what we're doing. Because if we are, I'm not fucking coming. I'm not doing it." And he no-showed the event. He walked out on the crowd, the fans, and all that stuff. And yeah, Tro, what do you think of Stone Cold walking out? Let's get your opinion first.
So it wasn't just the Brock thing. It was a mixture of him being tired of Creed. He's like, damn, son, last year I was facing The Rock at WrestleMania. This year you're making me face Scott. Oh, goddamn WWE creative, WWF creative. Now you want me to lose to Brock Lesnar unannounced. Damn, this ain't working. That doesn't work for me, bro. He just picturing Austin saying that. It's funny though.
Bro, when you do the shorts, clip your little Stone Cold impersonation because that's great. That's fucking great.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah. That impression.
Fuck you, Vince.
What?
Said screw you, Vince. You know they actually do. They had Vince McMahon on Bite This. You remember Bite This?
I do remember Bite This. It was kind of like podcast before podcast became a thing.
Yeah, and they tried to make it like all shoot stuff, but it didn't always really work out like that because they always tried to blur the lines. But they had Vince on probably one of the first shows to like promote the show,
right.
And I forget if because Austin was telling people like, "Oh, I hate the creative so and so forth," and Vince is like, "Oh well, if Mr. Austin doesn't like the creative, he can talk to me and we'll figure something out."
Mm-hmm. That's Triple H, but nice try.
I can't do it. There you go. Talk to me, pal. I owe you one. Damn, Vince. That doesn't. You want me to lose to Brock Lesnar on Raw?
And Brock's like, "You're not gonna lose to me? You ain't shit, buddy.
I'll get your ass at WrestleMania 20.
Facts. And over too, that little bald ass on, bitch.
It's all just it's been building up since WrestleMania 20.
Building up. Yep. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So Stone Cold walks out. My opinion, I understand that you're unhappy and all that stuff, and but then you talk to your boss and you say, "Can we come up with something better?" And if you can't,
they
just
couldn't.
say, "Yeah." Well, if you can't, then that's when you just throw your hands up and say, Okay, I'm not gonna get into whether I agree with it or not.
Well, it was also just like because he didn't like his heel turn. He didn't like his heel run. It was just he didn't like the heel run. Business was down.
Yeah,
He
I
didn't
get
like who he was
he
facing.
was
He didn't have a problem with losing to Brock. He just didn't want it to be like just so like unannounced. Like, oh, Brock versus Austin,
Austin on Raw. Yeah,
random TV match.
let's put it on a pay-per-view. Let's get it, or let's put it on
Yeah,
let's promote it, get a number out of it, blah blah blah. And I get that. That makes sense. Um, so that happened. The Rock leaves for Hollywood. So now there's really
for a few
nobody there to
months.
step up. I'm sorry.
Said yeah, he leaves for a few months. I don't know what he was filming. He already filmed. They already did the Scorpion King, and he was
Walking
already back
Tall, I
by.
believe.
He was back
Was
by
it
July.
I think it was Walking Tall.
Yeah, this was during that that pre Big Hollywood Rock period.
Great gimmick, by the way. I loved Hollywood Rock. But yeah, so The Rock goes to do movies. Austin goes home, takes his ball, and goes home. That means everybody else has to pretty much step up. So Triple H, The Undertaker, The Big Show, Brock, Kurt, everybody steps up, and they do, and everybody does a great job. Blah blah blah. If you want to go see more about all of this stuff, please go watch the Ruthless Aggression documentary on WWE Network on Peacock. Go watch it on Peacock while you can because it's going to Netflix pretty soon. So
Which
I
isn't too bad.
I don't know how this is going to work. So is everything WWE on Peacock going to Netflix, or is it just Monday Night Raw going to Netflix, and they're going to keep?
Pretty sure it's just Monday Night Raw. I think the things that are going to Netflix
Mm-hmm.
is just for international viewers. Like
Got
Peacock's still going to be a thing for them for like the local.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
not too sure.
So
We'll figure it out as it goes along. They're kind of making it up.
yeah. So anyway, go watch Peacock for all the ruthless aggression stuff because that's what leads us to that's what happens post WrestleMania 18, the ruthless aggression. Of course, Scott Hall gets fired for
Plane Ride from Hell.
yeah. The play have we talked about the plane ride from hell? You
We
know what?
have not.
I'll tell you what. We'll do a special plane ride from hell episode next week.
Ooh my.
I'm sorry?
That's gonna be. I said, oh my, that's gonna be fun.
So, oh yeah, we're gonna get into all that stuff next week. But we're out of time for this week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm CJ. He's Stro drinking Pepsi. Pepsi. Put the Pepsi up.
CM Punk reference.
Put the Pepsi back up. Put the bottle up.
CM Punk reference. What is he doing in 2002? Probably an RAH.
On the camera. There we go. Pepsi, sponsor your boys. What are you doing? What are you doing? Sponsor your boys, Pepsi. We support you guys.
Raid Shadow Legends. We'll take that money from you, Raid too.
Raid Shadow Legends. Yeah. Tro will play it. Anywho, like this video. Comment down below what you thought of WrestleMania 18. Comment down below what show you guys would like us to review next. Do all that good stuff. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when we upload new content. We upload new content weekly. I say that way too fast sometimes.
Frank's back.
I'm sorry?
Frank was back this week.
Yeah, Frank will be back. Frank and I are planning on doing a show at some point, whenever we can.
I thought I saw a ghost when I saw him pop up on my notifications.
Yep, he certainly did. We're gonna do an episode of Raw from 2000. So be on the lookout for that. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, he is Tro. I am CUJ. We out.